Three, two, welcome to the 5 Minute Creative Podcast. I'm Patrick Smith, and I haven't done this in a very, very long time. And the reason I'm doing it is I was going through my YouTube channel. That's not the reason I'm doing it. The real reason I'm doing it is I'm rethinking promoting how I'm promoting my business. And I had this before. I'll talk about that in a second. And I enjoyed it. I just kind of fell out of the habit, moved, and got busy and whatever. But I'd like to revisit it. And in the process of going through some YouTube stuff today, I noticed that there's a feature in there that I don't think I've noticed it before called podcasts. So I want to see how it works. So I'm going to create like a 5 minute little podcast here, and maybe this will be deleted in 2 days, and we'll start over. We'll find out. But the purpose of the 5 minute creative podcast in the past, what I would do is look at things like if there was a tool that came out and I liked it, I'd talk about it for a couple minutes. Or if there was a great ad, um, something along those lines, or like Super Bowl season's coming up and well, it's here, but talk about the commercials and things like that. So it was pretty straightforward. I'll probably do a little bit of that still. And the other thing I'm doing is trying to figure out how this sounds. So this is a production test run. And that's kind of what I want to keep it just to uh, compare and contrast if I get any better at this. But the room's a little echoey. I apologize. But I want to start talking about AI more. I don't have an expectation that I'm going to start talking about this and all these great things are going to happen, and then all of a sudden you're in the Joe Rogan world. That's not really my plan. But I did find that when I was doing this in the past, I was a little more proactive in trying to seek out new tools and things along those lines. And I'm also noticing as I'm doing this for the first time that I'm trying to figure out where my eye contact should be. I don't want to be looking at myself on screen all the time. So I may be, who knows, looking off or whatever. And by the way, I'm in my office, and I have about a zillion post-it notes right above this line of projects and things that I need to get done. And then there's a few fluttering behind me in different ways. The one on this side is all the things that have been done. It's about, I don't know, 40 post-it notes long, and I need to just throw it off the wall and throw it in the garbage. But they're from last year. So, and I should say this is January 18th, about 11:30 in Chicago, Chicagoland, I should say now. Uh, I have been fasting for 24 hours too. I really didn't intend to do that in any big meaningful way. It just kind of happened. I woke up a little bit late and then didn't eat, and then all of a sudden I got on the computer, and now it's almost midnight. So it's been more than 24 hours for sure. Anyway, but here we are. So the reason I want to talk about AI is in the beginning, well, I should say, I know more probably than the average guy on the street because when it came out, I started playing around with it, and I really had a dismissive attitude towards it because, well, for all kinds of reasons. I'll get into that probably some other day, different rant, different time. But uh, well, the main one was I just didn't figure out. I couldn't see an easy way to like. I'm like trying to force fit something into my workflow that just doesn't add a ton of value. And to be perfectly honest, the AI, the way I'm looking at it right now, it really doesn't help creatives with concrete deliverables. And when I say creatives, I mean art directors and designers. For writing, man, I've been actually pretty impressed with what it can do on a subject that I don't know a lot about, or I'm just totally creating from scratch. That part's scary. I think we're still going to need editors, but junior writers are really going to get crushed, and writers in general. So yeah, watch out for that. But on the art direction side, I could see how a client could say, "Oh, this is great. I can get all the graphics I could ever dream of without having to deal with an agency or a designer or whatever." So I kind of didn't want to I didn't want to participate. But um, as an adult, I need to be more rational, and I'm trying to find ways to integrate it in my workflow that doesn't slow me down the way I work already. And it has opened a couple doors for me creatively that it just basically gives you some perspectives on things that you would never normally try, at least for me. And for instance, there was an identity project that I had, and I was literally just chatting about it with a friend, and and we talked about AI a little bit before, and in the process of just being on a Zoom chatting with him, he shot me a few logo ideas, um, unbeknownst to me, and I wouldn't say they were the best logos ever. They were you could just tell they're just composites of other things. However, um, they were in some stylistic approaches that I would normally never even approach, just because it's just not my wheelhouse. And so it kind of forced me to just look at some other ways to solve the problem. So that was kind of cool. And so I figured there's probably at the beginning of a product a few different ways to use them. So I'll probably talk more about that more in the future as I uh, get into it. And then let's see what else. We're already past 5 minutes, so there is no rule that the podcast only has to be 5 minutes, but I try to keep them to 5 minutes just so that they're easy for me to produce and put out and easy for people to consume, and they don't become this monstrosity of editing and everything else. So, man, I did this all in one take, so I think I'm going to cut it here and just get ahead of myself. However, I'm going to do a really quick test on some audio. I want to see if I play something, if I screen share something, how this sounds, because I know the sound is coming through my computer and not the Zoom box. So bear with me half a second here. Let's see if I could share my screen. This is just a comedy clip, and the audio in the comedy clip isn't great either. So if I ever decide to share something in the future, this is kind of a good baseline in terms of I don't know, middle of the road audio. So let's try this. Oop, actually, let me go back to this because I want to. Oops, I'm screen sharing. I'm gonna stop sharing. What was the other part I gotta get better at here? Let's see. Share. And I'm not used to sharing and having myself on screen still. There we go. This is fun. Let's try this. And I'll just try a different background just to. All right. All right. Let's play this guy.
Here's this theory that if you don't like something, that's okay. And you just don't tell people about it? Right. Apparently, uh, there's this theory that if like there's a movie made or a television show or a book or anything and you don't like it, you don't have to post about it on the internet. Well, then how do people know if I don't like it? That's the thing. People don't need to know. It's this crazy theory that's going on. Apparently, back in the day,
All right.
people
So I'm
used to
doing
just tell people
some audio
everything they
test
thought
here.
about something.
This is a fun
Uh,
little clip here. All
but
right. And I want to talk over it for a second just so to see what the levels are like.
inside.
All
And
right.
keeping their opinions to themselves. It is.
All right.
Comment below.
All right, that's that. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I think we're going to call that a day and a success. At least it didn't go south. All right. Thanks for listening, and I'll have another one of these soon. Bye.